people are killing one another for distributor opportunities. And you're just like, yeah, I bought a case of Evolutions. It wasn't worth it, so I gave up. I'm so excited, man. All right. Welcome back to episode number 2, season 37 of the PokeRadar podcast. I am so hyped. We're recording this 2 days before the first episode drops with PokeRev. Nick, this is just going to be a Nick podcast, but today we have a very special guest, one that's been on the previous podcast, and a unique collector, a unique now, really backstory and unique story now. But he is my second choice from PokeFlips. I had to start off with that. I promised Dan, because he was your third choice for your podcast. But I have Old School Pokemon here, Nick, co-host of PokeFlips with Catch 'Em All Collectibles. But welcome, man. Thank you for hopping in. Dan was supposed to be here, but he had a little emergency, so thankfully you were able to fill that void. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to see your like you said. This is we're recording this before your premiere with PokeRev, and I am very excited to watch that one. I can't wait. Really excited that you're bringing these podcasts back. Thank you. I can say it because me and Dan do PokeFlips. So I don't watch PokeFlips, but aside from PokeFlips, you're definitely my favorite podcast. So I am excited to get back into those, and glad to be your second choice after Dan there.
I had to do that to you. Dan likes to bring that up a lot with you making him or picking him as your third choice for PokeFlips. So I've been on PokeFlips, if I recall, like long time ago.
It has been a while.
I actually think I was on it another time, but my ex had like a medical emergency. I had to hop off. I think that was PokeFlips. That might have just been being Dan. I forget.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. They all blend together.
But now Dan's having the medical emergency, so hopefully he's doing all right. I think he's fine. I have to check. We have to check in with him after this, but yeah, again, I'm kind of revisiting at first a lot of my old guests here, Nick, and trying to see where you're at. So, just for those who don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business that you're doing these days?
Yeah, so I'm Nick, Old School Pokemon. I run an eBay business selling Pokemon cards. I actually went full-time with eBay back in November 2020, so right after the whole COVID boom. Decided to go full-time with it, and it was... Looking back, it was a really good decision, but it was kind of a rush decision at the same time. I was really sick of my my previous full-time job. I was working on a cargo ship, and during the pandemic, it was miserable being away from home and not being able to get off in any of the ports that we went to. So it was more so a combination of seeing how well Pokemon was doing at the time, and being really sick of my job. I decided to take the plunge, try going full time, see if it would work, and fast forward 2.5 years now, thereabouts. Still full time with it, really enjoying it. Business has actually been picking up for me year over year, which I thought was actually really surprising. I was kind of figuring 2021 would be a decent year because we were still seeing the after effects of the whole 2020 boom. So I thought 2021 would be a good year. I'll be able to breeze through that one, and then 2022 would be the real test, because I figured the market would be slowing down at that point. So, 2021 was a good year. 2022 was an even better year. 2023, now that we're almost halfway through 2023, is actually turning into an even better year than that. So, I'm really happy with where I am and want to continue growing the business as much as possible.
Good, good. Yeah, I remember. So again, I had you on the original podcast just before you quit. You had just gotten back, I believe, and this was like you were brewing this idea of wanting to leave because, like you said, you were on cargo ships and you would spend months out of the year at a time away from all this, put your eBay on vacation mode, and yeah, you you said like the 2020 boom was happening, and you got to a point on the ship where you were thinking about it nonstop,
Hmm.
and it was just making the trip so much longer. Um,
Yes.
but uh, but yeah, so you're famous for essentially being like a huge grinder in the single card world, selling raw singles. Troll and Toad or TCG Player was it?
I was on TCG Player, or originally I was on Troll and Toad. I
Yeah.
was on Troll and Toad Evo for a very brief amount of time. I I actually told Dan about Evo, so he can thank me for killing it with Evo.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did it for a very brief amount of time. I didn't like Evo because I'm a very hands-on person. I need to see everything that I have, and Evo is all spreadsheets. You're sending inventory to Troll and Toad. You're looking at a spreadsheet to adjust pricing and all that stuff. And so I found that once I sent stuff to Troll and Toad, I really didn't care what I got for it, which is a terrible mentality to have. So I would always lower my pricing to be the lowest on there, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. So I eventually gave that up. I actually traded all of my inventory to Dan, and he gave me some like better bulk cards to sell on TCG Player. So I gave up Troll and Toad and went over to TCG Player. I was on TCG Player for about a year, and I was doing fairly well with it. It was all like bulkier type modern cards, commons, uncommons, trainers, reverse hollows. Um, I got into the TCG Player Direct program, which is a good program where, for those of you who don't know, it's basically TCG Player fulfills the individual orders on your behalf, and then every couple of weeks, TCG Player says, "We sold these cards for you. You need to send these cards to us to replenish our inventory." So instead of mailing to all of those individual orders, I'm just mailing one big order to TCG Player. So it's
Oh.
kind of similar to Evo, except Direct doesn't include every single product. So there's still certain orders that I'm shipping out every single day myself.
So
Um,
that's interesting. So they're not buying it up front from you, are they?
no, they just have a set amount in their own inventory. So like
And then
when
you
a new set
replenish
comes
that.
out, they'll usually open a whole bunch of boxes, or
Okay.
they have a company that does it on their behalf. I don't
Right.
I don't know exactly. So they usually stay pretty well stocked on the newest sets,
And
and so.
that's a pretty exclusive club to be in, right? They don't just accept anybody for that because
Mhm.
otherwise, right? Because I mean, you could just be sending them moderately played damaged cards to replenish their stock, but I'm
Yeah,
sure having trusted sellers like yourself, that's not happening for them. So,
yeah, you do
um,
have to be a fairly large seller on TCG Player to be eligible for direct. So that is the one kind of caveat there. But
okay.
so yeah, I did that for about a year. I thought I was doing decently well with it, but then come the beginning of this year, 2023, um, I started getting really burnt out with that. I I started out on TCG Player. I was doing really good. I was shipping all my orders, which for my orders it was maybe only 5-10 orders a day. Where in total it was maybe 15-20 orders a day. But I was shipping out 5 or 10 of those myself.
Okay.
Um, so in the beginning, shipping all those orders every single day, plus all of my eBay orders. That quickly turned into shipping TCG Player orders every other day, and I did that for a long time, maybe like 6 months or so. and then it slowly turned into shipping TCG player orders twice a week, and then once a week, and then at that point, I told myself I'm just not putting as much effort into this anymore. I'm taking forever to answer people's emails. I'm taking
Mhm.
forever to ship people's orders. I don't want this to be part of my brand, if you will. So I actually decided to slowly phase out TCG Player. I was like I said, I was mainly listing bulk cards on there. So I kind of started lowering the price points until I reached my kind of floor price point of 5 cents. So basically selling off all the good cards and being left with just the true bulky type cards. And then once I hit that uh, kind of pricing and everything was priced at 5 cents, I shut down my TCG Player account, and now I'm exclusively on eBay,
That's
trying
amazing.
to grow the eBay business.
Yeah, and the cool thing that I really enjoy about you is how transparent you are about the amount of money you make and how your business does. I think that I don't think that's come out lately. You've stopped doing the YouTube videos, it seems. After you all of us, I think, are cut from the same cloth a little bit, other than like PokeRev, who will do it every day. But we have said so many times, all right, we're going to do this for a year, and it takes 2 months and we're done. So, how much were you moving through TCG Player, or Troll and Toad? That
Troll and Toad, I don't even remember. It was not much. Troll and Toad might have been a couple $1,000 total. It was not much. TCG Player I did, but before all your fees and your shipping and all of that stuff, it was like 28,000 in all throughout all of 2022, and some of that was like the booster boxes and booster packs and stuff like that, but the majority of it was actually sub $1 singles that I was selling through TCG Player, because I would open
singles.
a whole bunch of booster boxes every single set that came out, and list all of the singles onto TCG Player. And when the newest sets come out, those cards do really, really well. So it was doing well. I just couldn't manage everything all together.
Okay, so are you still doing that though on eBay? Is that profitable? Or because at one point I remember you saying you were messing around with your own website,
Mm-hmm.
and listing things there and trying to figure out the proper strategy. And I think you shifted only modern product to your personal site.
Yep.
Is that all moved to eBay now? Is it really truly all in on eBay?
Yeah. So for the modern
You...
singles, I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
So I'll still open, like Paldea Evolved is coming out in a couple of days. I'm planning to open 48 booster boxes of that set, just because it's a decent set, but it's not fantastic. But I do want to continue like building up this relationship that I have with people, that I have the newest singles in stock. So I definitely want to open at least some Paldea Evolved, but I'm not going to go super heavy into opening that set.
And you're listing all that on eBay, like
yeah,
singles.
yeah.
And
so,
eBay now does their 20-cent shippers or whatever tracked, right? Or how much is it?
60 cents.
60 cents. Is that what you're using for all your singles?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Any singles that work through there, I'll ship like that.
Do you sell any sealed product, any sealed modern on eBay? Because the margins I feel like aren't there to do that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I've started to do some sealed product, mainly like booster packs and stuff like that.
Okay.
But that's mainly for eBay Live, which I don't know if you want to get into that just yet, but
we will. Yeah. There's a few things I want to touch on first before we jump into that, because I've started to now. Again, I'm gonna have to space out Dan's episode now, because we'll talk about the same things probably. But I didn't watch his video yet about gamifying business or Pokemon. Is that what he just posted?
Yeah, that was his video yesterday.
Right? Okay. And I've been talking to Squeaks a lot more and just trying to get a sense of like what's going on in this world because I've been so distant from it for so long, for the past year and a half. Are you a top 10, top 5 eBay seller in your category?
I
Are you going to share
don't know
that?
where I fall.
Oh, really?
I think I'm up there. I won't get into it too much, but I'm hoping for some big things to happen
Okay.
next year.
Awesome. Because I found that really interesting. I've never known about that there are rankings
Mm-hmm.
for each category on eBay as sellers.
Mm-hmm.
It's kept privately, for the people who are those top sellers, but it's really motivated me to chase that.
Yep.
And it's funny looking at all my friends, you, Dan, Squeaks, TCA. I'm sure Rusty's been like number 1 or 2 forever, but it's amazing that like seeing the success that all you guys have been able to gain over these few years. I look at it look in the mirror of like, oh, I could have been doing that. What the hell have I been doing for the past year? But it's really cool to see, and I'm excited to like jump into that again at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen incremental growth over your past few years. Your last video, I believe you did $800 and some $1,000 in revenue. Was that what the number was?
Yeah. So that was it was like 700,000 on eBay, and
Mm-hmm.
then the rest came from TCG Player, my website, YouTube ad revenue, the affiliate links, and all of that stuff.
That was 2022.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I'll open up a little bit too about my revenue because I like that you said that you're surprised by your incremental growth in this industry or this business since you started. I for different reasons declined heavily, but when I went full time with Pokemon, which was 3/4 of the way through 2020,
Mm-hmm.
similar to you, um, there was a side hustle, and then I went all in and did, I think by the end of the year, probably close to like $500,000 in 2020. Then 2021, the big boom year, right? Is that right? Yeah, 2021.
Yep.
I think I did, and it is on my taxes, so I did 1.6 million.
Man.
And then last year, 2022, just over 400,000. So I declined heavily. But that was a case of just completely throwing away the business and not working on it.
Mm-hmm.
What have you, I guess, done differently or seen that has led to this incremental growth in the past years? Because again, this has been somewhat of a down period in most people's eyes compared to those years. What have you done to see growth, to see year-over-year growth through these ups and downs of the collectibles trading card market?
One of the biggest things was starting consignments. That was really big for me because that led to week. I do auction consignments, so that led to weekly auctions. And as much as people don't like auctions, auctions are a really good tool for kind of boosting your visibility. For pricing aside, it really helps with getting those sales, getting that feedback, building that following, and getting people to view your buy it now inventory. Plus, it also helped the commission. Also helped the commission and the actual sales. Definitely helped my figures increase. So that was probably the biggest thing. More recently, it's just been being more consistent with myself and um listing every day, getting something done every day. I've been good about listing stuff every day to kind of feed the algorithm, but just kind of staying on task. I have a bad habit of kind of going from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, and never actually finishing any of those projects. So this year, I made a goal to kind of stay more consistent with myself, and instead of trying to sort through 10 boxes of cards at once, stick with one box and get that completely sorted, and then move over to the next box and the next one, and so on and so forth. 20, the end of 21, and then throughout 22, because we saw pricing go down so much during that time frame. There seemed to be a lot of good deals in the market, so I was buying a lot back then. So now I would buy a lot. I would sort through like the top like 10-20% of that collection, and then set all the bulkier type stuff back, and buy the other collection and do the same thing. So I accumulated all this like bulky stuff that I need to get to eventually. So that's been another one of my goals this year, is to get through that stuff and try not to buy as much this year.
Not to
So
buy
I would like
as
to.
much.
What was that?
You got to keep buying. You can't stop buying.
I want to unbury myself first.
No,
I want to get to a point where.
How old are you, Nick?
I'm 30 right now.
You've got 40 more years of this. You don't need to unbury yourself yet.
You're a bad influence.
No, you're the bad influence, because I have never bought bulk before in my life. But between the influence from you and a little bit of like S.M. Pratt and his incredible bullish behavior towards Japanese cards, I have purchased, during that great year of 2021, I purchased so many collections from Japan of promos and set cards, just so much that I have no idea what's in it, but it's in my storage unit. I know there's great stuff, especially now with the way things are going with Japanese cards.
Oh yeah.
But it is like, and this is all like vintage stuff, not the waifus. This is all like Watsiera, Koro promos and Black Star promos and stuff like that. Some, hollows from every set. But that's your influence of just buying bulk, just having a ton of cards. I'm thankful for it. I think I have a nice rainy day fund or something to do for the rest of my life. But
you'll never be bored now.
But it's like, I mean, that's what you built your business off of. So why would you stop? Yeah. Why would you stop buying? What's that attitude shift for?
Not so much stop buying. I just want to get to a point where I'll buy a collection, completely sort it, and then be able to move on to the next collection. To try and stay ahead of myself, because right now I feel like I'm still falling behind.
Well, that's a feeling right there, Nick, that a lot of us will always have, whether it's Pokemon or anything else. Don't get ahead of yourself. That's when you're in the wrong place. If you're ahead of yourself and you don't have anything to do, that's bad. You need to have. That is
true. That is true.
You don't. I mean, that's, looking at that mindset in one way. Obviously, you want to be more productive, actually get through things, get through your backlog. But if you get to the point where you are finished, like, but then what? You're screwed.
You'll be able to finally take a day off.
Well, one thing that was brought up in the past podcast, again, 2.5 years ago at this point, the first time we met in person, and I have no idea if we talked before that. Like, you never remember when you first met somebody or like talked to somebody, but the first time we met in person was at 2019 Worlds in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
And you bought a base set booster box off of me for $4,500.
Yes.
And so at that time, you had bought that box and I think a couple others, like another base set box and I think a Fossil First Ed.
Yep.
You ended up selling those those three for 40. You said 45 or 46,000 when we were talking, and you were planning on
somewhere in that range,
using that money for a down payment for a house. Did that happen?
Not quite yet. Not quite yet.
I have told myself I have set aside so many down payments for a house and I've never done it. The most that you can do through like a 2-year period. Oh, this is for a down payment for the house. No, it never lasts. All right. That was really my like, where are they now question for this episode, was did you actually get that house?
No. The money is still in the bank account. It's grown. It's grown since then. But no, still just sitting there.
Just waiting for that Sky Ridge and Legendary Collection case of
yeah, exactly. That's what the money will go towards.
Yeah. All right, so you mentioned eBay Live. I think that, you know, I've been involved in this world of live shopping. I think more than anybody, at least within the hobby here, doing the Whatnot thing for a while. Even before that, Instagram, I was doing live selling before it was a thing, and now Rare Candy. But everybody's getting involved now. You got eBay, you got Fanatics, you got all these other little ones out there too, trying to make a staple in this world. TikTok is doing it. You put all your eggs into the eBay basket here, what, a year ago, maybe? Or a little bit less?
No, not even a year ago. It was always primarily eBay. But completely eBay was the beginning of this year.
And that's starting to really open up some doors for you, where they have, I mean, essentially, I think they're still in beta of this eBay Live. And it's a very, you know, they're invite only thing, and they've brought you on. You've done how many lives at this point?
I started maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I've been trying to do 3 a week. So I think I'm on number 8 or 9 right now.
Okay. Well, tell me about that. I want to know everything about it, because as far as live shopping, you know, it's everyone's trying to do their own little take on it. eBay has the greatest reach for this. I've watched them from the start. I've talked to people a little bit about it. It seems to be pretty rough still at the moment, but there's a lot of potential. What have you been selling on there? Like, what's been working for you? There's auctions now, right? Because originally it was just all buy it nows, people kind of talking podcast style, like, hey, here's my buy it nows.
Yep. Pick
something you like. What are you focused on with your eBay Lives?
So I've always loved the whole live aspect. First off, I absolutely love going live and being able to interact with chat in real time. I just think that's so much fun. But part of those live streams is the $1 auctions for 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. So I've always had that mentality that you got to have at least some auctions for people to bid on, because I think that's the fun part. I don't like those initial eBay lives where it was like a QVC type of thing where they were just selling a product at the buy it now price. I'm not a big, those are interesting, but I'm not a big fan of that whole aspect. So I've always focused on the dollar auctions. I think I've kind of fine-tuned what I want to do moving forward, and it's going to be the 3 lives a week, about 30 single cards every single live, starting off at $1. For the single cards, I kind of try and do a little variety of everything. So I'll do WotC hollows, I'll do some mid-era hollows and reverse hollows, and then some like modern chase cards, not like the alt arts or anything like that, but some of the cheaper cards. Right now I'm trying to focus, like I'll have a few like maybe like $50 and above cards each stream, maybe like 1 or 2 of them. But for the most part, I'm trying to focus on like that $20 price range, just because it's tough with the views right now. It's kind of all over the place. So I do the auctions, and then something that really surprised me that I never thought I would get into is rip and ships, selling packs to people, having them opened up on stream. Because I am not the most exciting person to I am not a Leonhardt or a PokeRev or anyone like that who can get really excited about opening packs and keeping your audience entertained and all of that stuff. but I figured I'd give it a shot, and if anyone wanted to buy packs, I could definitely do that for them. So I tried it out my first stream. I did my auctions, and then I put the packs up as buy it now listings, and told people you can buy them, you can have them opened on stream, or I could ship them to you. Either way doesn't matter to me.
You didn't have to like separate the listings so that you wouldn't get essentially like returns or anything. Did you have you didn't have to put like rip live versus sealed shipped?
So that's the thing. If
Like
someone really does want to return it, I think eBay would allow it. I'm not 100% clear on that because it's still a normal eBay listing.
Okay,
There's really nothing different about the actual listing.
okay, yeah, it's still the wild west with this stuff. There's no
Yeah.
regulation. Like people are just going about it and trusting everybody, which is great.
Mhm.
But it does cause a lot of issues. I mean, I have no idea what you're allowed to share or not about this stuff. I'm just genuinely curious because, again, starting off at Whatnot, seeing the way that they do it, it's a flawless app technically. You know, you can literally just go live anywhere, sell anything, upload it then and there. Don't need any details or anything. You just need viewers, and you can sell anything. Rare Candy is like the opposite, where it has to all be predetermined. I
Yep.
create auctions, people pre-bid. It's set up like a Heritage, eBay, whatever, so people can see it, bid on it, and you can go live at the end of it to like showcase the items.
Yep.
So with eBay Live, you're not making specific listings for that auction. You're just pulling from what's on your eBay page.
For the buy it now stuff, I'll pull just kind of different things from my eBay page to kind of showcase. Plus,
Okay.
I'll do all the packs at that point. But for the auctions, I'm actually taking cards from my inventory that I don't have listed on eBay, doing front and back scans, and actually creating. It's the exact same process as if you were to list something on eBay as a regular auction. You're just creating those individual auctions, and then you go into the seller portion of eBay Live and make those auctions exclusive to that eBay Live.
Interesting. Can people see those auctions outside of the live?
Only when you actually list them on eBay and before you make them exclusive to the live.
Okay.
So there's like a brief window that someone can see the auction. I always just title mine eBay Live number 1 through number 30, whatever I'm doing. So nobody's going to be able to find those unless they just happen to be in my eBay store at that time.
So could you do the Rare Candy style, the Heritage style, where you list it on your eBay for like a 7-day auction and then change it the last day to be exclusively live?
That I actually haven't looked into that.
That could be interesting if you want, because you do seem a little bit hesitant to try higher end stuff.
Yeah.
That could open up the door for that for you if that were to work, because then you could get the reach, you could get the visibility on it for 6 days.
Yeah, exactly.
And then push it to live only. That could be interesting if that works.
That would be. I'll have to try that and see if I can get those to pop up. That would be interesting. I'm definitely gonna look into that.
Gosh, eBay should have hired me too. I interviewed for like 3 eBay jobs and they shot me down because I didn't have traditional work experience. I love eBay. eBay's great. So that's really cool. That's amazing. Being able to, I still haven't been able to catch your lives. I just happen to always be flying or doing something when you go live. Well, the last one I was actually available for, and then you're like, oh, sorry, it's not working this time. So
I was pissed.
So was I, because it was the first one I was going to be able to watch. But they do have all the saved, archived videos, so you can go back and watch them still.
Yep.
But wanting to like support the stream and like buy something, can't do that with the past stream. So well, that's really great. I mean, it's exciting to see. I know again, you're basically business partners in a way with Dan with Catch 'em All Collectibles, and he's been very transparent about that in his videos about going really hard on eBay.
Yep.
This idea of the eBay algorithm is something that I feel so dumb about not realizing was a thing for so long. Like I've my whole life I've been very interested in the world of YouTube and Twitch and internet, social media, marketing, social media marketing, everything like that. And the idea that there were algorithms behind all that made complete sense. And
Mm-hmm.
not for a second did I think there was an eBay algorithm for whatever reason. I've
Oh yeah.
never even thought about that until Dan said something and talked about some YouTuber that talked about all these tips and tricks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What little insights do you have there? You said you're just being a lot more consistent. Consistency is like the strongest aspect of anything in life. Really, consistency helps with growth. But are there any little niche or tricks or secrets that you have found to possibly work for you that you're open to sharing with the world?
Yeah, two things that I've been focusing on this year. I was always super hesitant about item specifics. I've always thought nobody is searching on eBay and clicking on that left hand side for the card that they're looking to buy. So I never included any of that information. The eBay is really pushing item specifics right now. So that's becoming more and more important. If you want to have a good listing with the most amount of views, fill in as many item specifics as you can. Obviously, stuff actually pertaining to your whatever you're listing. Don't bother with anything that doesn't pertain to your listing, or any of the ones that you have to manually fill in yourself. Like for Pokemon, there's an option to include the cert number where you type that in yourself. There's an option to include the card number where you type that in yourself. And any of those ones aren't as important. So don't focus as much on those ones. But any of the ones with the drop down menus that you can select different options, definitely pay attention to those. And something I learned about that as well is it also helps with Google searches, which apparently
Oh.
is actually like a really big way for people to shop on eBay. Is they'll
Oh, yeah.
Google whatever they're looking to buy, and the eBay listing will be one of the first ones that pop up.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I
mistakenly do
never
that
knew about
sometimes.
that.
I definitely like do that on accident plenty of times, or I'll just go to Google and type in PSA like I'm typing on eBay, um, I mean it pops up, right? It works. That's cool. I like that. I think that I know that they've been pushing item specifics for a while, at least on from what I see on my end as a seller, just because that's the one thing they flag is like, oh, your items are missing 13
Yep.
things or whatever. And I've only used that side as a buyer literally for sold listings and then buy it now.
Yep.
I've never used it for anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also just never looking for anything specific. So that's a unique buyer, I guess, that doesn't really matter. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I'm the same way though. Those are the only two buttons I'll click.
Yeah, but we're looking for everything. Well,
Yeah.
majority of people are probably looking for a specific card, so it makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense.
Exactly.
One funny thing again, being brought up from the last podcast, which kind of circles back to what we were talking about earlier with like modern product. You and I don't know if I caught it right. I listened to it a couple times, but
Oh
you
boy.
said that you started off with a distributor and gave up on it. If you got a distributor, the first thing you bought was a case of evolutions,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't worth your time. So I do you remember that being the case at all? Did you start with a distributor and just like not use them for a while?
Yeah. Yep. That
'Cause
was true. That was true right there.
isn't that amazing? People people are killing one another for distributor opportunities, and you're just like, yeah, I bought a case of Evolutions. It wasn't worth it, so I gave up.
Well, it was a little bit past Evolutions. I did Evolutions, I did Sun and Moon, I did up until Crimson Invasion. Crimson Invasion was the last one that I did. And it was always just like one case here, two cases there. And to be successful with selling singles, it needs to be quantity of each listing, which means you need to open a lot of packs.
Was that your allocation at the time?
I honestly couldn't even tell you at this point. I feel like I probably could have been getting more. Just because they had a lot of old stuff still in stock. Like you could still buy a lot of the XY early like XY sets going into Sun and Moon. So I feel like I probably could have gotten more. Maybe that was my allocation though. I couldn't tell you.
That was right when you started, or I mean, it was before you were going full time. So I'm sure you were just like buying to have some, and you weren't trying to maximize your allocation.
Yeah, that could be another part of it. I was that's the time I was just getting into Modern.
Yeah, because I was the same way. I just like, I mean, I've never really had the available funds to just like throw money at Modern and hope it does well. I've always been very specific with like, all right, I know Vintage really well, so I'll just put all my money there. There's no point. But now I'm utilizing my distributor. I have to do it strategically because I can't sell anything because my business is set up in a different state, so I can't ship to myself. So my Modern just sits, which is fine. I'm okay with that. It's not the smartest thing to do, but
hey, long term, it could pay off.
Yeah. Like thankfully, I'm able to. That's I'm grateful for that that I'm able to do that. So, my allocation though is not growing, and it got cut hard on Paldea, which I don't know if you've got the same treatment, but usually I get 50 booster boxes or so of the new set, and I got cut to 18.
Ouch.
And the weird thing is, like, I've been spending the last 5 months really working with my rep, like, hey, I'm looking to increase my allocation a little bit. How can I get there? What do I need to do? I started buying more stuff. I bought like all their Charizard UPCs that were sitting on the site, and just random things. But yeah, I got cut hard, and I ordered more in preparation for a harder allocation hit, but still got hit hard. What about, like, is that happening with you? Or are you?
So I work with two distributors. One I've been with since it's the same as the Evolutions distributor.
I'm with PhD.
What was that?
I'm with PhD personally.
Okay. So that one's Mad Al, and I've talked about them before. I'm not a big fan of them. My allocations have been stagnant with them for like 2 years. I'll get 36 booster boxes of every single set. I'll get 20 ETBs of every single set. Yeah. And with them, there's no specific rep that you're talking to. It's all automated. So you don't put in how much product you want. They just send out an email saying, we can give you X amount of product. Let us know if you want it or not. You can request more product, and sometimes, like for the collection boxes and the battle decks, the stuff that nobody wants, they'll give you more. But for like booster boxes, ETBs of Paldea, where they're in such high demand, you're not getting any more of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then so with that distributor, I got the same as I've been getting for the past 2 years: 36 booster boxes, 20 ETBs, the blisters, and all of that stuff. Right. But with my second distributor, who I actually got really, really lucky with them, Southern Hobby. I signed up with them December 2020. And I actually got right in with them, which I was really surprised by.
Nice.
Now I got in with them, but I wasn't getting any type of allocation. I remember Battle Styles was the first set that came out that I was able to use Southern Hobby with. And I think I got one case of booster boxes, and that's all I could get. I wanted to get more, but that was all I could get, just because I was such a new account with them. And over the years, I've been able to really increase my allocations with Southern Hobby, and I got 66 boxes for of Paldea Evolved with Southern. So I definitely want to keep that relationship and keep growing that one, and slowly let Mad Al fade into the sunset.
Well, consistency is nice, so I want to drop that off.
That is true. That is true.
Not personally, but through the businesses that I've done. Yeah, Southern's great. PhD, I love PhD. They've treated me very well. But how many boxes did you try to order?
I want to say 102.
Okay, so you got like 50%ish. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I ordered 120 and it ended up with 18. So I got hit pretty hard.
That hurts.
Yeah, that was the lowest I've ever been hit with. But hoping to do better on Obsidian Flame.
Yep.
What is it? Crimson Obsidian Skies.
Obsidian Flame. Don't you dare say Crimson. Let's hope it's not a Crimson set.
Crimson Obsidian Skies. That's what it's going to be called.
Oh boy.
It's going to have Altart Weedle.
Altart Weedles.
I can't wait. They need to do just a lame Pokemon Altart. Weedle, Caterpie, done. Well, they've done Dunsparce, I guess, but just a whole terrible lineup of the lamest Gen 1 through 4.
There we go. That's a solid set right there.
Yeah, people will love it. So how's your collecting life going now that you are a full-time business? This is something that I always struggled with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now that I'm back at a 9 to 5, essentially, I'm able to collect more, which is fun. I do miss the business, just being all in on it. But how's your collecting going? What's the collection look like? What's the health of your collecting capabilities?
Yeah, it's tough doing the business and trying to collect at the same time. Because the stuff that I'm after now, it's not cheap stuff. It's all expensive stuff that I'm after now. So it makes it really tough.
What you have the theme deck cases.
Yep.
Last 2.5 years ago, you were missing 2, which was Skyridge and Legendary. Did you get
That's
any of them?
That's still the case.
That's still the case. You had nearly completed your pack collection.
Yep.
Is there anything you're going after there still?
So I think I started this after we talked. I got all the English packs from all the sets. Then I branched off and started doing foreign base. So first edition unlimited of Portuguese, Korean, Spanish, all the different languages. So I'm still missing a few of those, which I never thought those would be so hard to buy. Some of those you just don't see pop up.
Yeah.
So I'm still missing a few of those, and then No Damage Ninetales is the other big one.
You were at a count of 27.
Okay, so that's almost doubled in 2.5 years.
Oh my! What? Look, and I said this 2.5 years ago. I still need one for my binder, for my base set binder. Share some love, man. You're at 50. Have you hit 50?
No, I'm at 49 right now. I just bought my 49th back a couple of weeks ago. Another PSA 9, which I'm super happy to have, because nines are really tough to find.
How many 9s do you have? 2?
This will be my 4th 9.
Are there 10s out there?
There's one 10 that we know of. It's sold on eBay back in I forget if it was either 2016 or 2017 for like 6,500, and we haven't seen it since.
That's a big number back then.
Oh yeah,
Really,
oh yeah.
that's huge. And then you have the ones. Do you have two sealed now, or just the one sealed?
Just the one sealed.
Because Rusty has the other one.
Yep, Rusty has one, and then I recently found that there was another one down in Australia. So there's at least 3 sealed that we know of. Rusty and the other guy, neither of them know which type of theme deck it came from,
Right.
which kind of stinks. Mine came from the heat sealed variant,
Right.
which makes me think that's where they all come from.
I mean,
it's only one example, but
that's enough to go off of.
it's I
more
think so.
It's more data than we have anywhere else. So you got those have been your 3 like staple collection pieces or goals.
Yep.
Is there anything else? What else have you looked into?
No, as far as collecting goes, that I've kind of narrowed my collection down to those 3. Those are the 3 that I enjoy the most. Oh, actually, I can't say that now. I absolutely love Squirtle. So I bought a perfect 10 Shadowless Squirtle. Absolutely love that card. And then just recently in Dallas, I bought an inverted stamp Dragonite, CGC 8.5,
right.
off of Jeremy Swolepoke.
That's right.
And that purchase was because going to the movies to go see Pokemon the first movie as a kid. I remember going to the movie theater, getting the sealed promo. I got the Dragonite, and so I've always had a sentimental attachment to that artwork and that card. And I've always wanted to eventually buy the inverted stamp Dragonite, just because I think it's the history behind that card is really, really cool.
Yeah, how many of those have we seen? I mean, there's been no stamps, there's been inverted stamps of all those ones, right? The Electabuzz, the Pikachu, Dragonite, and Mewtwo?
Yep.
Is it those 4?
Yep.
Have there been a lot of these?
No, not very many.
What's not very many?
I don't know if it's I don't know the whole history behind these cards as much as I probably should, owning one now, but I believe I heard one sheet of cards was printed with the inverted stamp, and all 4 cards are on the sheet. So it's 121 or 120 divided by 4, whatever that is.
30 of
so each. Like 30 of each.
That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, well, knowing Rusty, probably owning a lot of those sealed promos because he loves that stuff and has been buying that stuff for years. Mm-hmm. I think there was a time where he was looking at all of them, trying to see if he had any more. I wonder how many he came up with. But that's interesting. That's a big purchase for like a not so. I mean, again, the inverted stamp part of it is super rare, but it's a common card that has a big price tag to it, similar to Shadowless Ninetales. I mean, they were printed in mass with them being in theme decks, but the no damage Ninetales. It's really interesting. I like those kind of things. Like I have a gold bordered Machamp.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Incredibly common card, but with the gold border, it makes it super rare.
Yep.
So I like that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of errors that I like. I don't like the ink smudges, the whatever. I like the common card with a very significant clear error.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. I'm the same way there.
So speaking of Collecticons, you've been vending a lot lately. Is this becoming a kind of a staple part of your business now? I mean, the numbers that I hear that people are doing at these shows now, and I mean, they're just so busy. There's so many people. Is this becoming like a necessity for you, or is it something you want to grow? What's your state with vending at shows? Because you do local stuff too.
Yeah. Yep. So that's another thing. This year, I went from knowing what I was doing the beginning of this year to having no idea what I'm going to be doing going forward. But it's all like good. There's a lot of wheels that are turning right now, and so it's a good time for me right now. I just need to sit down and figure things out, because the beginning of this year I was actually thinking about scaling back eBay and focusing more heavily on collecticons. I thought that might be something cool to do. Kind of do a whole section by myself. Go to every single collecticon that's happening. Obviously, I would have to hire some employees to help me out, because there is no way I'd be able to run a whole section by myself. But that was the kind of initial thoughts that I had going into, really after Orlando is when I started thinking about this. And then that kind of changed to where I want to focus more heavily on eBay. And so now I want to, it's tough because I want to do both, but I don't know if I quite have the inventory to keep both going at maximum capacity.
I mean, what quantity of cards do you move through at these shows?
It's a good amount. In
like hundreds of cards.
Oh, quantity wise,
yeah.
Maybe I would say 100, 150 maybe.
Okay. I mean, that's a good amount of cards. And how many listings do you have on eBay?
Listings on eBay, close to 2,000.
Okay.
But then the stuff that I'm bringing to Collecticon is obviously like the better stuff.
Right.
And with the better stuff, I don't have as much of that as I do like the bulkier type cards.
Right.
But so I wouldn't want to start bringing all the good stuff to Collecticon and then not have any of the good stuff for eBay, because then that would negatively affect eBay. I wouldn't be making those good sales on eBay.
Wow.
I'm kind of stuck in that moving forward. Obviously, that means I need to buy more. I need to grade more. So I'm trying to focus on that. Specifically the grading right now, not so much the buying, like we talked about earlier.
How much grading do you do?
So I've always been really, really bad about grading. It's always been something that's like super inconsistent for me. I would go months without sending anything, and then all of a sudden I'd say, okay, I need to get a whole bunch of cards out. So I'd send like 800 cards out at once. Mm-hmm. And it was just the inconsistency, and me, I absolutely hate filling out the submission forms.
Which ones? So all of them?
I always put that off as much as possible.
Yeah. You were really excited about CGC 2.5 years ago. Is that still the case?
Oh God.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
But no, now
I will be heading there soon to grade some stuff. But
I try and do 2 to 4, or I try and do 400 cards a month, 200 cards every other week. That's kind of my goal. Kind of breaking up into small submissions and do about 400 cards a month.
Is that something you think you can comfortably do, like consistently, or would you be worried about that after like 6 months or a year?
No, it depends on if PSA is going to lower their pricing. If they stay at 15 forever, I think it would get tough to do. I would need to start sourcing some new stuff new collections to grade. If they lower that price point down to, I want to see $12. Yeah. I have a ton of Shadowless and first edition bulk that I want to send off. But the margins with those cards are just, for a lot of them, they're not there in 9s, and then even 10s are $20-$25. So that extra $3 doesn't sound like much, but it basically covers shipping whenever you sell a card.
Right. Well, we can talk more about that after we're done recording. Might be able to help you out, but because the grading thing, like I remember getting to a point where I was sending, 500 cards a month consistently, and but the way I was able to do that easily was like a mixture between Ludkins and
Hmm.
doing it myself, because like you said, that filling out of the form is just the biggest headache, and having somebody to do that is well worth $1 to get done, or whatever the cost was to get it done. I mean,
Yeah,
back then with that deal, like it was actually cheaper to go through them,
yeah, it was
um,
wild back then. Yeah,
which yeah, I didn't recognize, I didn't utilize early enough, but yeah, whenever those are coming back, I'm gonna hop hop back on something like that.
yes,
Um, okay, so that's interesting to hear. That the vending, I think that's definitely the smart play, sticking with eBay. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
they've been around for so long; they continue to be around. This is becoming and is a digital world, even though they're all physical assets still. How do you feel about the eBay vault? PWCC kind of um, I don't know, pioneered it in
Hmm.
the trading card world. I feel like it made life easy for a lot of international buyers, made life easy for people who traveled a lot, because you could kind of be hands off with your cards and still sell them. Um, are you working with the eBay vault at all? Is that something that, because I know TCA was like the first Pokemon guy they let do it. I think Dan's said some stuff about vault things coming. Other people have said some things about vault stuff coming. Does that interest you, the eBay vault, for your business?
It does to an extent. I think I will look into getting into it myself at some point. Um, and long term, I do think the eBay vault will be something. See, I don't really know the direction that eBay is going with the eBay
Mhm.
vault. But I think if they do it right long term, that could be an absolute game changer
Yeah.
for consignments, and people keep people keeping cards in there. Right now, obviously, you need to have the $250 threshold to ship anything to the eBay vault,
Mhm.
and there's really no. I don't know if there's a way to sell through the eBay vault yet. Just as like a regular person who has a couple
There's
cards in there. I,
there's
I don't
not.
know if you can have those cards listed on eBay. I don't believe so. Um,
You can
but
only
I think
buy and send to the vault.
no, like even so like I
So, like,
I
if I
don't
were to
think
buy a card,
yeah.
I can send it to the vault. That's available to people.
Yes. But
But
then
I
could you
can't.
list that card from the vault?
I don't know. I don't use vaults at the current moment. I
Yeah.
will if I were all doing full time cards again, because of space and accessibility.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not sure on that one. I don't think you can just yet, but once they open that up, I think it's going to become really big. I also think they need to, if depending on like the direction eBay wants to go with it, I think they need to lower that $250 threshold. Because there's a good amount of cards that fall over that threshold, but there's a
Mhm.
ton of cards that fall under that threshold. So if they
Yeah.
really want to become like the next PWCC type of thing, where they're storing your cards, they're selling your cards, I do think they need to lower that threshold. But
That
then that would
the
throw a
overhead for
monkey wrench
that.
into the whole authenticity guarantee. So I don't know if they want to
Oh,
get into that whole
I didn't think about
ordeal.
that. The overhead on something like that would be crazy, though, if they started going lower. So the fees would probably be quite um, uh, uh, unattractive for most, I would feel.
Hmm.
So it's just to make that work, make it a profitable business,
Yep.
to deal, because so many cards would get sent. I feel like
That is true. That is
so
true.
many cards, and to manage that, it's a very big manual effort. So
But then once those cards are in the vault, you're not touching them at all. All you're doing is clicks of a button, moving them from one vault to the other.
That's true.
Hmm.
I really don't know how all that works. I'm not technically
Yeah, I'm not
savvy,
completely sure on that either.
So,
Hmm.
yeah. Are they like physically moving it from a section to a section, or are they just storing it like Burbank Sports Cards stores their cards, and they leave them in that spot forever until someone takes it out?
Yeah. I'm not sure on that either.
That'd be interesting. I need to look into that more. So I talking about cards, I want to talk about life a little bit too. We don't get to talk much these days. It's usually at Collecticons or random. The one random thing I called you about was those winter promos.
Oh yeah. The manila envelopes, the best game.
Yeah, which are still available. I need to make something happen there. But back again when we were doing the earlier podcast, you talked about getting into eBay and how that all started with your dad. Your dad was a collector of coins, right? And sold on eBay. And you did say at one point that you were gonna spend time going through all that and clearing out your coin stuff. I'm guessing you never got to it.
I've been slowly doing it, very slowly. I actually have a second eBay account that I do the coin stuff through. And I maybe have 100 positive feedback on there. I think there's like 10 things listed, so it's not much.
Is that something that you want to get back into, coins at all? Is your dad collecting, or?
Yeah, I would love to get back into it at some point. I'm slowly getting back into it. I'm starting to go. There's like a local like a coin club where they talk about coins and they do auctions and stuff like that. So started getting back into that. Finally did manage to break out my collections and start filling in the gaps and all of that stuff. Started buying kind of what I missed from. I basically stopped in like 2018. So it's kind of filling in those gaps and slowly getting back into it. But definitely enjoying it, and still have a whole bunch to go through and kind of separate into what I want versus what we should sell and get that listed and sold and all of that stuff.
That's good. Did I introduce you to Jason, the director of coins and paper at Heritage?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys did have a conversation.
He bought the 2022 staff card from me, and we actually had a really good conversation about coins. So that was a lot of fun talking with him. I wish we were able to talk longer, because I could have talked to him the whole day.
Yeah, well, I get dinner with him every month or so.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to meet him randomly through this restaurant owner that I frequented when I first moved to Dallas. Who came up to me one day because I was way out of place dressed like this. Well, everybody, I'm pretty sure he has a dress code, but he didn't say anything to me. Then I just would come in late, like after an auction, just sweatpants all the way out, just go up to the bar and eat some food and leave. And he finally came up to me. He was like, who are you? And I told him I did Pokemon and everything, and his kid obviously did Pokemon, so it led to a pretty great friendship. And now he introduces me to everybody, and Jason was one of them. Director of coin and paper currency at Heritage, and he's introduced me to the CTO of AT&T. Who eats like it's a networking gold mine. So I love going there. He's also it's incredible Italian food. Great families, like kind of vibe, and he's so nice. It's fantastic. He's very very Italian. So
those are the best kind of places. I love like the old school Italian restaurants. You can't beat Italian food.
Yeah, not at all. It's I miss it dearly. I lived in Jersey for a year, and I there's nothing like it out there. American Jersey Italian food is fantastic. You're from the Northeast. You're from the Boston area, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you? What's the Pokemon scene like up there? I know you just recently went to a show. Didn't you vend a show with Dan and You used to do one with Jake too. Pokenomics just disappeared from the world. Jake, come back.
Yeah, no, that's so me, Pokenomics, Jake, and Dan TCG, who's another person on Instagram, actually started doing a trade night up in New Hampshire. And so that was the recent one that we went to. It was that. Those have been a lot of fun seeing everyone. This past one was, again, it was fun, but it was kind of disappointing because of we really didn't plan it as well as we should have. We planned it over Memorial Day weekend, which, looking back, was a terrible move because I'm assuming a lot of people go away that weekend, and the turnout that we had was decent, but it was definitely the lowest turnout that we've had out of any of the we've done 3 trade nights so far. So this was the lowest turnout that we've had of any of those 3. But hopefully they'll pick back up again. We definitely want to continue that. And then there's another local show up in about 45 minutes away from me that me and Jake vended back in. I think we did it back in April, and then I couldn't do May because it was the same weekend as Collecticon. But we're gonna try and go to that one again in June, and that was a decent show. The first one that we went to in April it was the right timing because it was the same weekend that Scarlet and Violet released. So I sold a ton of Scarlet and Violet stuff. So this next one in June, it's towards the end of the month. So Paldea Evolved have been out already. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. If this local show is just kind of a one-off thing that we shouldn't do again, or if we should continue to do it again. My thing is I just love being able to talk to people face to face. It's so much more fun being able to do that than typing emails and have everything be automated, and just I enjoy the face to face interactions way more than just being by myself, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area out there too. I used to go to New Hampshire a lot. I love the Northeast. It's great. Boston itself, I don't know so much, but the surrounding areas. What do they call the Boston people out there?
Great people? Is that what you're saying?
Great people. I think that's what it is. Yeah, that goes well with Boston. All right. Well, what to kind of wrap this up? I'm curious about your goals here. Do you have any strict specific monetary goals? Maybe hitting 1 million. You didn't hit 1 million revenue, right? It was 800 or 1,000 or whatever in 2022. Was that the last video?
Yep.
So maybe 1 million sounds like a nice goal. What goals do you have for 2023? I mean, we're halfway through it already. It's flown by. What goals do you have for the rest of the year here?
Yeah, that's the biggest one. Is monetarily, 1 million in sales would be ideal. We'll see if that happens. I think we'll be on pace. I think I'll at least be close come the end of June to 500,000. So we're on pace for that, which is nice. And then long term, which I don't know if it's going to be this year, next year, whatever, but long term is definitely the eBay Live thing. I've gone all in on that, and I think it's going to be really big. So I definitely want to focus on that, and I would love to eventually just kind of have like bulkier type cards listed on eBay, and like the higher end stuff listed on eBay, and then everything in between is just sold through a live that I'm doing every single day. That would be the ultimate goal. Whether or not eBay Live works out like that, we'll see. I'm hopeful for that. But then, aside from that, just kind of improving what I'm doing, staying consistent, and just kind of stay on with the course, grinding away.
Love it. Love to hear it. You're living the dream, even though it might not feel like it every day, but you're living the dream, man. I'm excited for you. I Anytime you want to chit chat ideas about live stuff, let me know. I'm always here to bounce ideas off of, and I've done a few things with that, so maybe I can help out a little bit, maybe not, but
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, again, guys, go follow Nick here, Old School Pokemon, on all socials, Instagram, YouTube, the Poke Flips podcast, which I'm going to weasel my way back in one day here. So I'll trade a podcast for a podcast, and then
there we go.
Yeah, really great content coming from you. I don't know if that'll ever come back, but I'm sure you'll post things here and there, and whether or not that's consistent, I think you share a lot of great value, information, and knowledge with people. So Nick, I really appreciate you being here, spending the time, filling in for your co-host, and always, again, it's a pleasure. You're an inspiration to a lot of the grinders, or at least you should be. So if you're grinding Pokemon, watch your old videos at least.
Yes,
send Nick a message, look at his eBay, see what he's doing, copy him until you can figure out your own thing. But yeah, man, thank you.
Well, thanks for having me on. I look forward to you continuing this for years and years to come.
That's right. I'm gonna go to my grave doing this, guys, so don't you worry. But that's gonna do it. Thanks again, and see you guys next week.